I didn't think we could fall in love. Broken from the start, chained to our past. We had closed hearts. We are breaking free. It's just you and me. We might fall apart, flower running away. Can we break free? Can we break free?
Y'all give me just a second. I'm finishing setting up a couple of these things, because I'm going to jump over to some of the option flows midway through as well. Hang with me. Alright, let's take a look here real quick and see what we have. We'll start with Tesla, because I know a lot of people are freaking out over Tesla right now, but it's doing exactly what we've been watching. Let's see. So on Tesla here, what we had was this bullish pennant, which I warned people to be careful on that bullish pennant, because overall Tesla was showing signs of a reversal, as well as the options flows. What we could see over on the Weld movement was expectation of kind of a top. So there's lots of selling of calls at those spike premiums, which I'm still kicking myself, because I still could have sold 7 more covered calls and I didn't, but I really wanted to, and I kept on being too patient, honestly, and then ended up not selling additional ones. But I mean, I can't be too mad. The ones I did sell, the 3 I sold, are up like 10k at the moment, so at least I'm hedged partially on my long position. But that being said, what we got going on with Tesla right now? So with the news this morning with delivery numbers, it broke to the downside of this pennant, invalidated, and is now testing this more significant trend line. So you can see I had the measured move marked here for that downside break. And sorry for all the extra lines below. You'll see where those are relevant in the coming weeks and months. But right now what we're doing is we're testing this trend line. If we can't hold this trend line, it's very likely that Tesla hits that 345.16 gap fill. And if we do get that fill and it can't bounce, it's going to start filling gaps to the downside. And if that seems like it's extreme and it's not going to happen, you hadn't been Tesla long. Once Tesla broke that 414.50 level, which was the previous all-time high, it went into the danger zone. So unfortunately for Tesla, it can very quickly go from the current range to sub 300. You can see we did it multiple times after the previous all-time high. I'm not saying that we go there immediately in a day, but as part of the volatility of Tesla is that it can move very quickly from its current range and drop $50+. So if you're long-term in shares like I am, you can hedge, sell covered calls, or you can trade puts if you want. I'm not actively trading calls or puts as a buyer on Tesla for various reasons I mentioned recently on the other streams, but just want to kind of touch on Tesla here, because we're at a key level of confluence right now where we have to see whether or not Tesla can hold this key trend line, as well as that confluence of 372.33. And like I said, if we break down there, it's probably going to attack 345 and fast. We formed a bit of an intraday bear flag today on Tesla, so we'll see what happens on Tesla for the remainder of the week and into next week. I know the broader market from a tech standpoint is where people are panicking, so I'll start there and then I'll jump into this list of tickers that y'all have thrown over here in the chat, and then feel free to put them in the YouTube chat as well if there's other ones you want me to take a look at. But wow, there's additional pipe bombs found. Man, the world is crazy. So like what I was worrying about with tech the last few weeks, and why I wasn't longing calls even on the semiconductor stocks, like Nvidia kind of this thing where it propped overall today. But if you look across the broader tech, and we'll get to crypto here in a minute and all its awesomeness, the rest of tech didn't do so hot. Apple, I haven't looked to see what it did in after hours, given that news that came in. I was out running at the time, so I haven't checked back in on it. So it looks like it actually caught a little bit of a bounce before close, and then it stayed pretty stagnant, it looks like. So yeah, Apple is another one that you can see here broke its uptrend pretty harsh, and that's kind of the kicker once you head into these types of moves and you see a topping move going on, especially with increasing volume. The selling, basically you have capitulation. Sorry, can't talk. Need more water and coffee. That kicks in, people start to panic and secure their profits. So I'm not as concerned about this type of stuff on crypto because crypto, a lot of the profit taking you had rolling into the end of the year was tax loss harvesting purposes. There's no wash sell rule with crypto, so a lot of those people are starting to rebuy already. Whereas on big tech and a lot of these other things that are securities, there's the wash sell rule, so you can't immediately rebuy if you're harvesting losses. So something to keep in mind, watch closely on some of the big tech players right now. AMD is another one that I've been trying to caution people about, but it's just looking nasty, honestly. I mean, if you're longing shares like I know how and some others are, that's totally fine, as long as you're okay with holding it for months or years. But we're still very much in the downtrend, even on the weekly chart with AMD, and we're at risk of forming yet another bear flag on AMD. So definitely keep an eye here. You can see weakening volume going on there. This week's been kind of funky along with last week just because, for one, the holidays, but also low volume movement. Keep in mind also that we are going to have a market closure day next week and observance of Carter. So, yeah, AMD, several tech tickers. This is why I haven't been trading calls on like big tech, just because even though people can feel like big tech is just ripping over and over again, I mean, you can see AMD has been a steady downtrend since October. So just because SPY and QQQ are doing what they're doing doesn't mean that all tech tickers are doing the same. But jumping over and looking at QQQ and SPY real quick, keep in mind kind of the way I look at this is that QQQ and SPY are being driven by the top weighted tickers, not the other way around. So if Nvidia and Apple and Microsoft are dragging down, they're going to pull QQQ and SPY with them. So the technicals matter, but really you need to be watching the top weightings to see how those are going to drive these. What we have on QQQ though is a break of the uptrend. You can see here that we're building out. There's actually a head and shoulders there. It's a little bit cleaner if you look at it on SPY. There's actually a head and shoulders going on here. It's almost completed that downside move. Right? So watching that, seeing how that shakes out. It broke its uptrend as well on SPY. I think SPY is going to have to start filling some of these gaps, which is good. Honestly, from like a long-term perspective, you want to see that retracement like that. That is healthy. IWM's got several filthy setups going on right now, and we traded the first lotto trade of the year on IWM puts today for 280% gain. So that was sweet. Entered up here on the second rejection. So watching this, because the setup that you have here, and let me delete some of these minor support levels just to make it cleaner. I can add them back if we scalp it again. But the setup on IWM is this very nasty bear flag that we have now formed here, and if we break this trend line, which is the lower portion of the bearish pennant of this bear flag, I'm gonna say bearish flag, bearish pennant interchangeably here because it's a bit of both at the moment, but it's forming into more of a bearish pennant at this point since you've got the lines here. Let me draw that so that you can see that. So you can see the tightening there. That makes it a pennant instead of just a flag itself. So watching this, if it does break to the downside, especially with increasing volume, you're going to see a sharp drop on IWM. I might swing puts if I see a confirmed break of it, but I'm treading carefully on swing options on indices at the moment just for multiple reasons. There's a lot of other tickers that I can swing options on right now. And one thing to go ahead and call out while we're looking at this, just because you have big tech and these indices that are getting wrecked or going very red right now doesn't mean that there's not calls to be traded on other tickers. Same thing as whenever big tech was ripping, I trade puts on some other things. Like at any given day within the market, there are opportunities in both directions. So I'm not going to get hung up on whether one thing is going all green, and I'm not going to talk about things in generalization as the markets are doing something. So at least not for decisions of making trades, right? So Hood is a good example of something that is showing bullish continuation here. It's trying to consolidate in this zone. It got a nice big buying volume. Today I actually added to some long swing calls on Hood. What I want to see is it consolidate here and get some buying volume increase and break out to the upside. I'm keeping in mind that we have earnings coming up on the 23rd, so that could either be a positive or a negative catalyst. From my personal standpoint, I would prefer to lock gains on majority of my calls on Hood before earnings, just because I don't like gambling with earnings. But Hood is getting some pop with crypto movement yet again. So similar to what we talked about before, and we'll jump over and glance at some of the crypto here in just a second, just since it correlates so closely with this. But I want to make sure I cover Google for T-Bauer because he requested it. So Google looks like it's actually rejecting it. Its all-time high from the previous go-round again as well. It's not a full-blown reversal yet, but it's damn sure looking like it on the weekly. On the daily, I'd be watching to see if it's going to head down to that gap fill at 176.26. Again, not trading puts actively, but Google's one of those that I don't hesitate as much to trade puts on it if the setup makes sense, just because all it takes is one antitrust lawsuit for it to serve as a negative catalyst to kick it down. So if I see the opportunity present itself, I might trade puts on it again. And honestly, the options on Google aren't terrible to trade. Like if you're trying to trade calls or puts on Nvidia or Tesla, the premiums and the theta decay is ridiculous compared to something like Google. So watching Google here, because if it does break this pennant to the downside here, it very much can go fill that 176 gap quite quickly within a week or two. You can see the previous movement range here. So definitely watching that and see what it does. The selling, you can see we've got increasing volume coming in with that, so definitely something to keep an eye on there. Next one, Celsius. Freaking Celsius. Come on, 007 Matt. I saw the options movement that you're talking about too, which is interesting because if you look at this here, Celsius still wants a attempt a breakout here. I think that there's a lot of hesitancy or holdup going on with Celsius related to the lawsuit thing, but I'm not super concerned, and I'm also not in any heavy positions right now. We scalped those calls and stuff a couple of weeks ago and locked the gains, but just in some lotto runners at this point. I'll be watching to see can it get a breakout above that level or not and push higher, because that 127 range to $31 range actually pays quite well on swing calls with Celsius as compared to like a $4 move on bigger tickers. So definitely keep an eye on Celsius. Lucid, you know I love some Lucid, so we're definitely going to cover some Lucid. Lucid, like, I know people freaked out with that pullback yesterday, but that's healthy retracement. We need that. So as of right now, Lucid is still very much respecting the bullish setup it's got on a larger time frame. I'm still in some long-term calls on Lucid. I probably will add to some shares or calls once I get a confirmation of breakout on the weekly. I dig the setup though, and I think Lucid's got a lot of promise going on with it. So definitely keep an eye on Lucid to see what it does here. Let's see what else is in the ticker list. Yeah, I'll look at QSI real quick. QSI, somebody's asking about those calls that I entered. When was that? On 12/16. Because the damn things went to 586% gains today. That's an excellent example of you don't have to trade expensive stocks, and regardless of what the broader market is doing, crap like this is going to happen, so you need to know how to look for it. So QSI, like I said, we got in those calls at $35 each, and today those QSI calls tagged $240 each. So sweet trade. Obviously this thing is still pumping and running. It's got some steam behind it going, so I will keep riding out my runner calls on this. I already covered my cost basis, and I want to see what happens. Just for clarification with quantum, so this QSI is not truly a quantum computing related stock. It has quantum in the name, but it's not a quantum computing stock. So while it may get some sympathy movement with other quantum tickers, such as all these within the AI realm, it's not truly a quantum stock. So just something to keep in mind. Holy crap, RGTI really ripped that much again? Is that in after hours? Or man, Tony, I don't know if you're still in your RGTI long-term calls or not, dude, but that right there is sweet. I knew it had a bull flag that had some continuation momentum going on. I just didn't chase it. But perhaps I should have. Man, you want to talk about a banger trade on anybody that's been trading this thing since December. I didn't pursue it because I was in so many others, but wow, like literally up. What's that percentage basis? 700% over the last month. Wow, that's cool. But yeah, several of these other quantum stocks that I'm keeping an eye on have setups that are forming that could potentially break out to the upside. So keeping an eye on them. What's QBTS doing? Keep in mind, even though it moved 14%, like that's within this trading range for the recent time frame. I haven't been messing with calls on some of these because the IV is so high due to the volatility and range of movement that it hasn't made sense for me to pursue something that I'm going to swing. The risk is just too high. But I have no issues with scalping something. So, yeah, I'll keep watching those, see what happens. Let's jump over to crypto real quick. Talk through what we see. So while that is a head and shoulders, I'm not super concerned about the head and shoulders here just because I understand the fundamental movement of crypto. So like I was saying earlier on the stream, a lot of the movement you've seen thus far the past 2 to 4 weeks on crypto, especially with Bitcoin, is tax loss harvesting, where people are selling off to secure paper losses on crypto and then they'll rebuy. So as of right now, you've got so many bullish catalysts coming into play on crypto into 2025 with the new administration, as well as several other catalysts that are going to be positive. So I'm feeling good about crypto, maintaining my long-term holdings, of course. Solana's up over 6% today. Oh yeah, that's going to look nice when it breaks out to the upside. So if you're not in Sol yet, right now is not a bad entry because when this thing breaks out, it's going to rip. So I think I alerted a fresh Sol position the other day, and we should be up already on that. But yeah, that's looking nice when it breaks out to the upside. If you look at the weekly here, Solana is going to have some serious oomph behind it coming out that cup and handle back test there. So definitely a good one to keep an eye on once we hit alt season in Q1. Maybe early Q2, but we have not hit alt season yet, regardless of what people said 3 weeks ago, obviously, since you saw the retracement happen on both, or a lot of the crypto. XLM is another one that, where'd it go? Had some huge moves the last few days, which is great. Check out this huge candle. So XLM's my preferred approach to transferring between exchanges personally. XLM, Stellar Lumens. Very cheap, very fast transactions. And usually when I see big movement going on with XLM, that is positioning and people shifting from wallet to wallet across exchanges, preparing to purchase whatever crypto it is that they choose. So, man, another plane crash for real? I just saw the breaking news thing. I don't know if it's a small plane or a big plane, but this one's in California. Not sitting well, considering I go to Estonia in 10 days. But, yeah, let's see. Stellar Lumen, you can see yeah, another bull flag breakout going on here. When it pushes the upside with buying volume, this sucker's going to rip again to probably the 50 cent plus range. So another good opportunity is XLM. Let's see, several other cryptos are looking solid, like XRP back up at that 240 range. I already mentioned my concerns about XRP. Told y'all that I'm holding my long-term crypto for XRP as well. So just keep in mind what I said about the wallets that kind of got me sitting not so great feeling with XRP. But either way, I think XRP, HBAR, any of the ISO compliant cryptos are going to look for a lot of growth into next year. So where's HBAR? I know it's on my list. Why is it not on my list? Probably jumping over it, I guess. I'll just type it in. So HBAR. I'm going to go ahead and make this just a bit more conservative and draw it based off of that. But HBAR's got this bullish pennant going on here. We'll see if it can break out to the upside because the upside move puts it at 56 cents. So HBAR's looking good. Plane crashed into a building. Wait, what? Hold up. I gotta click on this. Oh, it looks like a little plane. Or is it a big plane? Anybody know anything about that? Doge when you get to crypto, Matt007 says, and Evan Salt is like asking, what do you mean Doge? So like I think Doge is going to do pretty solid this year. Kind of hard not to with Elon having office literally titled Doge. It's also like obviously got public sentiment, right? So Doge will do good. I don't expect Doge to do anything like crazy. Like I don't expect Doge to go to like $5 or some crap like that. Like the market cap required in order for that to happen is just too high. So that's something that people need to keep in mind, whether you're looking at Doge or SHIB or any others. Don't get me wrong, still bullish on Doge, but bullish to Doge, like more so to pump towards maybe the all-time highs that it previously was in, with that 57 cent to 73 cent range. But not looking for Doge to go to like some absurd like $5+ amount right now. The market cap required and the amount of money required would just be too insane. So same thing with SHIB. While SHIB can pump and break out nicely here, it's still like, keep in mind, like a big pump for me from a SHIB perspective. I'm looking more for like this range, like in that current range that I have marked there. So definitely something to keep in mind. The altcoins that are on, like Solana blockchain and some of the others. Matt said, "What about $2 on Doge? Is that possible?" I mean, it's not impossible. Doge doesn't have a insane circulating supply, so let's look real quick. Can't top, but we'll get there. What is the Doge current circulating supply? Total supply right now is 147 billion. So, I mean, $2, you're talking about like what, $300 billion, give or take, is what the market cap would need to be. I mean, so here's the thing to look at. Like, yeah, sure, you're talking about 6x minimum, right? But a market cap of $200 billion for comparison, I mean, it's not crazy. But like the actual utility and everything behind Doge isn't, I don't know, like the promise isn't there for me. Kind of like XRP. I know people are hyping XRP. And I do like the tech and the transactional use case of XRP. Don't get me wrong there. And I love the bull flag it's got going on there. But also, like, keep in mind that there's a lot of people that bought XRP back in 2021 that are barely green right now. So, and I was in it at that point, so I totally get it. But yeah, Doge could possibly go $2, Matt. I wouldn't like bet on it per se, especially not in the coming year or two. But also, like, anything can happen, I guess. Especially with the whole X payment system coming up. Depending on what they end up using for the backing of that, that would be a very, very positive catalyst. Just keep in mind with Doge, the sell the news factor, like you saw with Saturday Night Live when Elon talked about Doge, hyped it, and then everybody dumped. Jumping over to Uber and Square real quick, since Analyzer asked for those. Uber got a nice little pump this morning. It looks like it's trying to break out of that bear flag that it's currently in at the moment. Be careful. And this, while that could be potentially a breakout for a reversal, it could also consolidate more in this bear flag and break down to the downside. So just be careful. Like, look for a breakout to the upside, maybe above that 66 range would be a little bit safer to trade to the upside. Personally, I'm not gonna chase this right now. But yeah, that's the levels that are on it. Let's look at SQ real quick. SQ still trying to maintain the same big bullish setup. We'll look at APLD here in a second too, because it's got the same setup going on. So SQ, that's a beautiful, perfect backtest bounce right there. So if it could actually get buying volume and move higher, SQ could rock off this level. We'll see what happens, especially with earnings upcoming on February 20th. So let me look at APLD real quick. Same thing, it's backtesting right now. I need to add to calls on this is what I need to do. I have not yet, but I need to. So let's see what other tickers are on this list over here people want me to look at. Let me actually click on Bitcoin, because some dude's over here telling me it's going to new lows, and I'm like, get out of here. Like, no. On that weekly, that bull flag is very much still intact. And like I said, we just got past tax loss harvesting season for crypto, so like, be prepared. Bitcoin's probably going to rip new highs here. It's holding that zone very well. It's consolidating. when it gets a breakout of this level, like it's already technically, you could already say that it's breaking out of that downtrend there. Now, would I want to see, just like any other downtrend breakout, is a high above the previous high? So above 100K again, and Bitcoin goes soaring. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of the catalyst around this is going to come with the inauguration. So we'll see if that kicks it into another gear. Sorry, checking that update for y'all on the other screen. Any other tickers y'all want me to go through? If not, I'll end up wrapping up the session today kind of early. Go hang out with family for a bit. But I will be trading and working and whatnot tomorrow, so it'd be good there. I'll give everybody just a second to chime in over here on this other thing real quick before I do. Here. Tell you what, to make everybody's life awesome, what I'm going to do after I turn off this live stream here in a second is I'll start a new live stream with crypto charts on it. Y'all seem to like that on New Year's, so if that's something helpful and you like that, let me know and I'll keep doing it. But in the meantime, the two of y'all that are still hanging out, hit the like and subscribe button. That way we can get more following going on here. But yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up this stream. I'll turn on the live stream again with the crypto charts that y'all have them. And then I'm looking forward to getting some trades in tomorrow. But started out 2025 strong so far with a 208% gain and some trades that were swing alerts that also we got a good start going on. So looking forward to making those gains tomorrow and then pushing here. Everybody have a good night.